Here we go. Questions on 13 through 27. That was just reducing normally by factoring or reducing each polynomial, okay, by that monomial. So any questions on 13 through 27? 19. 19 says x squared minus 6x minus 16, and that was divided by x plus 2. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to actually rewrite it where it looks like a polynomial over a polynomial. Next thing you need to know is I need to factor. Okay, so if you use your x, some of you may be getting out of this x, which is good. Okay, if you're not, it's okay. Alright, what two numbers can multiply together to give me negative 16, but ends up adding together to give me negative 6. Negative 8 and 2. Now signs are different. Okay, so I know one of them's going to be negative, one's positive, and the larger one was a negative. So now I'm going to go x minus 8, x plus 2 over x plus 2. Well, at this point, what I notice is this cancels off, so that leaves me with x minus 8 as my answer. Did you factor different? Right here? Right here? So you did this? Okay, you can't. Nothing wrong with breaking it down, but you're not going to figure out how to do anything there. The only time you want to split it up that way is if this bottom is a monomial. Okay, this is not a monomial because I had an add or a subtract in there. At that point, then it becomes two terms. Remember, a monomial is one term. It can be all multiplied. Okay, but it's just, there's no add or subtract. Okay, so don't split that up, because if not, you're going to get stuck and you won't be able to do anything. Okay, all right. Next question off the top ones. Nobody else has a question on 13 through 27? Do 25. Okay, so 25 said 4t squared minus 1, and that was divided by 2t plus 1. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually write it with a polynomial over a polynomial. Now, what you need to pay attention is, this is a difference of squares. Is this first one a perfect square? Yes, because it's 2t times 2t, right? And is 1 a perfect square? Yes, 1 and 1. So I need to write this as 2t minus 1 and 2t plus 1. Now, if you need to check yourself, do FOIL. First term ends up giving me 4t squared. Outside terms. This one's going to be a positive 2. Inside terms gives me negative 2. Well, we know a positive 2t and a negative 2t cancel off. And then my last term is negative 1. Okay, so if you need to check just to make sure you're good, go ahead and do that. Divided by 2t plus 1. Well, what I notice is these cancel off, and I'm left with 2t minus 1. Any questions on that? Okay. Any other question on 13 through 27? Okay. We're going to do all the bottom ones. So I know everybody's probably had a little bit more trouble with that. I'm not going to copy the problem and then turn around and write it. On my paper I would, okay, but since I'm going to write up here just to save a little bit of time, I'm just going to go straight into a minus 1 is divided into a squared plus 4a plus 3. Now, the direction said use long division, so they were kind of going ahead and taking out, okay, that I needed to factor. I'm going to take this first term and divide it by the first term on the outside. So a squared divided by a is what? A. So I'm going to put an a here. I'm going to put it over the same degree of coefficient. Remember, the degree of coefficient is your power. So this was a 1, this is a 1, so I'm going to put it right over top of each other. Now I'm going to multiply. So A times this binomial. So A times A is, and A times -1. Okay. Now I'm going to subtract this. Now, some of you may be getting confused once you do the subtract out here. Go ahead if you need to and change this. This is a subtract, that's a plus. Okay? I'm fine with that. A squared plus a negative A squared is 0. That cancels off. What is 4A plus A? So 5A. Now I need to bring the rest of the equation down. So plus 3. I'm going to look at this term now. 5A, and I'm going to divide it by 5. So what is 5A over A? 5. And it's a positive 5, right? So I'm going to put plus 5. So now, this positive 5 is going to be multiplied by this. So what's 5 times A? And what's 5 times -1? Okay, now I'm subtracting. So this is where I'm talking about. If you want to put subtract here and change that, I'm fine with that. 5A minus 5A is 0, so that cancels off. What's 3 plus 5? Now where does this 8 go? There's nothing else for me to bring down. 8 over A minus 1. Is that a plus or a subtract? It's plus because it's positive. And that's your answer right here. Okay. Oh, you have a question? I thought you were getting ready to ask me a question. All right. Let's go to 33. 33 is n minus 2 is going to divide into 4n squared minus 3n plus 6. First term divided by the first term on the outside, which would be what? So 4n squared divided by n, 4n. So it's a coefficient of 1, so I'm going to put it above this coefficient of 1. So 4n times n is, and 4n times -2 is, okay. Now when I subtract, I can put subtract, change the order there. So 4n squared minus 4n squared is, those cancel off. -3n plus 8n. Bring this down. Now 5n divided by n. 5, and it's a positive 5, so I'm going to use my plus. So 5 times n is 5 times -2. I'm going to change that. So now 5n minus 5n is, and 6 plus 10. So where does the 16 go? Are you catching your mistakes? I know some of you were struggling. Are they simple mistakes? Did you get to a certain point and just stop? Do you understand what I'm doing? Okay, well, I mean, I'm just asking if you got it. All right, let's go to 35. 35 says t plus 4 is going to divide into t cubed minus 2t. What do I need to do here, though? What happens to this degree? It needs to go down 1 every time, right? So I don't have a t squared. So how do I add in a t squared? 0t squared minus 2t minus 4. How many of you forgot to do that? Okay. And here's why. Because in a minute, what is t cubed divided by t? Okay, if you didn't have that t squared there, where are you going to put it? Okay, you don't have a spot reserved for it. So I'm going to put it here. So t squared. So t squared times t is, and t squared times 4. Alright. Then I'm going to subtract. So this looks like a negative and a negative. So t cubed minus t cubed cancels off. 0t squared plus a -4t squared is -4t squared, right? I'm just going to bring all this other stuff down. So all this just comes straight down. Now, negative 4t squared divided by t is what? Negative 4t, right? So, negative 4t times t is negative 4t squared. Negative 4t plus 4 is what? Oh, I'm sorry, it was negative. I wrote positive, sorry. Negative 16t. Now, I don't have anything here. That's okay. All right, even though I brought it down, it's okay that that's blank for right now, okay? Now, I want to change these. So, because that was negative and I subtract, okay, just subtract the negative. It's the same as plus a positive, right? So, I want to change both of those. What is negative 4t squared plus 4t squared? It cancels. Negative 2t plus 16t. And I want to bring that minus 4 down. Now, what is 14t divided by t? And it's going to be a positive 14. So 14 times t is, it's almost a tongue twister there, isn't it? And 14 times 4, 16, 56. Okay, now we'll subtract. So it's 14t minus 14t. What's negative 4 plus negative 56? There's nothing else for me to bring down, so this needs to go up top. So this is a negative 60, so it's going to be minus 60 over t plus 4. Okay? Questions on that one? Yes. The thing is, even when you're doing numbers, you've got to get something close. Okay? So even if I was doing numbers, let's say I multiply by, or dividing by 72 into some big number. Okay? Alright, let's say I take this. Alright, these first three numbers is where the first number that I can divide into 72. So in my head, I'm kind of estimating and saying, how many times will 70 go into 584? So I'm kind of even breaking down how many times will 7 go into 56. Okay? And it's just kind of giving me an idea of where I need to start. So all of this ends up getting multiplied. Just like when I plug in my number up here, let's say I used an 8. I have to multiply 8 by 72. Even though I use 70 as an estimation to get me close. And as you remember when we did it, sometimes we'd overdo and we'd have to erase and go back and do a smaller number because when we carried. That's all this is doing. You're only using that first one to kind of help guide you for the first one. Okay? Alright, let's look at 37. 37 said 4c minus 2, that 4 looks kind of funny, sorry guys. 8c cubed. What's the rest? Plus 0 squared. There you go. Everybody understand why I had to add this in here? Okay, that's probably one thing. I mean, forgot to do that one on this one. Okay, it's alright. Now, 8c cubed divided by 4c is what? 2c squared, right? So what is 2c squared times 4c? 8c cubed. What is 2c squared minus 2? Negative 4c squared. I'm going to subtract, so I'm going to change those. Just cancels off. And when I add those, I get 4c squared. I'm going to bring the other things down. Now, 4c squared divided by 4c is just c, right? So what is 4c times c? And c times negative 2. I want to do the opposite because I want to subtract them. This cancels. 6c plus 2c. Bring their number down. 8c divided by 4c is 2. 2 times 4c is, and 2 times negative 2. We'll switch those. This cancels off. If you go back through again. Negative 5 plus 4, negative 1. So that pulls up here as minus 1 over 4c minus 2. Very good. Okay, good, because I want you to do 30 through 36 even right now. And I want you to hand those in so I can kind of see where you're at. Actually, after you do each one, come up and let me look. Alright? That way I know, well, I mean, you're right here at me, so. Unless I'm like over there or something. Alright? But I do want you to come up. Y'all want me to leave one of these up? Okay, fine. If y'all want to turn the lights on, you can. You should still be able to see that. You can use your notes. Do not use each other, though. I want to see what you guys can do. Now, I'm not going to take a grade, but I do want to see what you guys are going to do. Maybe, I'll think about it. Share a book, I'm fine with that. Just don't be sitting over there talking. Okay? I don't care about the sharing of the book.